What did you take from Siachen and what did you give to Siachen, sir, in emotional terms?
One is that there is no firing casualty, but even we used to be fighting the climate. That was the climate, the chilblains and the frostbites and all. That has come down because we've learned how to stay there, how to fight there. So, usko to forget that particular place and think anybody.
It is so difficult to wrap one's head around Siachen. You can't breathe, you can't walk properly, there is snow blindness.
When it is snowing, you have to have sentries outside your bunkers.
Sure.
Because the snow by night, if you don't do it, it will be so high that it will collapse.
Only from the weather, sir. Forget about firing, forget about shots, only from the weather. And for the Indian Army to go there and plant the tricolor. So this is another level of dedication to duty, sir. Hello friends, welcome to GAP, the Gaurav Arya podcast. We have discussed strategic affairs, foreign affairs, national security with you. But when we talk about the armed forces, what is the core of the army? What is the ethos? What is the DNA of the army? What does the Paltan mean? There are so many things that people want to know, and today I have a very senior veteran with me, a general officer. I have with me Lieutenant General Mukesh Sabharwal. He's commanded 15 Corps. 15 Corps is the corps that looks after the complete Kashmir Valley. He's been Adjutant General of the Indian Army. And over 40 years of service in the Indian Army, most of it in Kashmir, along the LAC, along the LOC. Extensive service, sir. Very warm welcome, and it's an honor and privilege to host you, sir.
Thank you, Gaurav. Nice to be here.
Sir, my first question, sir. We were discussing before we started recording, and my first question to you would be, sir, why does a soldier give his life? For what does he give his life, sir? What are his motivations? And who is this soldier that everybody talks about but nobody knows? Who's the soldier, sir?
Yeah, very interesting and very good question to start to get the ball rolling. Because the fact of the matter is, when you ask some guy on the street, what do you mean, what does 16 December or what is 26 July? They don't have a clue. Vijay Divas and Kargil Vijay Divas comes up on the TV, it comes up on social media and on WhatsApp and Twitter, and that's the time they know, oh, there is something to be done. And on that day, there'll be a lot of flutter of activity and it'll die its natural death. To realize that in 1971, in the Kargil war, we've lost the number of people, 3,871, over 550 in the Kargil war, and over 7,000 have been lost in the insurgency, that is proxy war and the others. And nobody gives a damn, of what has been happening to these people or their families. And that's what concerns you. But at the same time, you say, why does a soldier go and yet want to sacrifice and give his life? What motivates him? What goads him to go and do that? And that is something when especially the young, modern youngster of India wants to know. I would like to say it is the ethos of the Indian Army. Ethos of the Indian Army is very old. It is the warrior code which we remember of the Mahabharata. Right from that, ethics, कोई पूछे तो क्या है ethics? Ethics is nothing but choosing right from wrong based on your conscience. इतनी छोटी सी बात है. But as far as फौजी is concerned, ये जो ethics है, जो ethos के अंदर शामिल होना है, उसमें duty, discipline and character. ये तीन चीज़ें हैं जो उसको गोड करती हैं. And character, of course, we take it normally, कि उसका जज्बा जैसे ही जंग में जाता है तो उसका जज्बा बुलंद हो जाता है and he can do anything. Sorry, I would like to tell people, ये जो character building है, this is imbibed. जब पलटन में आप शामिल होते हो, अब when you go to the पलटन and when you live with the people, how to conduct yourself, habits जो बन जाती है ना, that is the one which takes you. It's a wrong notion that war transforms. War does not transform you into a courageous soldier or anything else. It only exaggerates. Agar your character has been good or it's been bad. If it's been good, it will amplify, it will exaggerate.
If it's bad, it will amplify.
If it's bad, it will become adverse then.
Sir.
So that is very important to understand that this is a habit which has been imbibed into you. ये जो संस्कार हम बोलते हैं बच्चे के, वैसे फौज के संस्कार हैं कि कैसे राइट चीज़ करनी है. डूइंग द थिंग राइट इज सो इम्पॉर्टेंट टू अ सोल्जर कि once he does it, then in war also he'll do the right thing.
So you're basically saying that a soldier himself, apart from his environment, a soldier himself, or he says that I'm going to hold myself to a higher moral standard. Is that what you're saying, sir?
Absolutely. He has to, because it's been taught, it's been put into him that officer वो आता है कि you are better than the rest. You have come into the forge itself. The selection process is so tough. No airy-fairy guy can just get into the forge like that. Even हमारे recruitment जो होती है, even the jawan who comes, it's a proper selection process. Only then one can make it. Or once he has come inside, और हम बात करते हैं कि why does he fight and why does he die for the country. अब एक चीज़ है विल पावर, या कोई इसको सेल्फ डिसिप्लिन भी बोलते हैं. अब इसमें आई थिंक यू ऑल्सो मस्ट हैव रेड दिस पोएम इफ.
Yes, sir.
Rudyard Kipling. Everybody in the forge must have read this at some time or the other.
The most famous Fauji poems. मतलब which the Faujis loved.
Relate, हाँ.
Yes, sir.
अब इसके अंदर 2-4 लाइनें बहुत ही इसके जिसके मायने हैं. It is, if you can take a heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss and lose and start at the very beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss. अब ये तो एक निचोड़ है. It really saying is never give up, keep persevering. If you are down, you are not out, so you should bounce up back again and take calculated risks. अब इससे ज़्यादा और निचोड़ क्या है कि your willpower or self-discipline, if you have that, you in war are bound to do that, and that is what will propel you to go forward.
Sir, I'm going to ask you about your unit, sir. You were commissioned. Tell us about your unit, the troops. पहले दिन कैसे थे पलटन में when you were this thing? 1971, sir?
Yes, I joined in June 1971. We were commissioned.
Sir.
By that time, you see, Bangladesh had declared its independence on 25th March. So we knew things are going to happen.
Sir.
And sure enough, war clouds were beginning because preparations of the war started even in October. In fact, I was on leave and I was recalled to join the unit back again in October. But when I joined, the first things which Paltan ke andar mein jaate ho, to your troops, that is what you are. Your religion, your everything is about the troops. I joined 9 Rajput, and our troops were Rajputs and Gujars. So अब उसके अंदर में यू कैन मेक आउट कौन वो मिस्टिन ऐसे पकड़ के जा रहा है तो घी है इसमें, ये गुजर है. These are the type of thing you start imbibing. And the way these chaps conduct themselves, अगर वो भागने के अंदर थे, they are the top in cross country or something. So you join उन दिनों में एक ARA championship होती थी. We used to do General Chaudhary ARA championship, in which it was basically a commando platoon action.
Sir.
So you youngster, you better get joined in. So before you realize, you've already started getting molded into that.
Grooming shuru hai, sir.
हाँ, grooming has started. And then came the operations in 71. And I mean, motivation ka ek aur level was, before the war started, General Sam Manekshaw, he came to address us at Mira Sahib. And Mira Sahib mein, guess who was our GOC? Our GOC was General Zoru Bakshi, MVC VRC. Our brigade commander was Brigadier Desmond Head, again MVC of the DograI fame. When you have these
1965 Battle of DograI, sir.
That's right.
Jat regiments.
Jat regiment, 3 Jat. Now, when you have guys like these, right in the beginning, why won't you go in and fight?
I still can't get over the fact that you saw General Sam Manekshaw face to face.
Yeah, Sam Manekshaw, Zoru Bakshi, Desmond Head. Now, when that kind of situation, so motivation is already there.
Sure.
So obviously, we operations are one part and parcel, but how you learn and how you imbibe. A small incident, Paltan ka, when you talk, the war was over, and about 2 or 3 weeks after that, people जो जिनको ज़रूरत थी उनको कहीं छुट्टी जाना है तो as cases which were compassionate, we were CO said भेज दो. I was doing a night duty, second lieutenant थे हम. उस time I was barely 20 years. I joined the force before 20 years.
Sure.
So at 20 years, and there was this Jawan, I still remember his name, Sipai Kulwant Singh. He was not looking too good. So I asked him, क्या हुआ कुलवंत? कहते कुछ नहीं साहब, सब ठीक है. मैं कहा नहीं, तो ठीक नहीं लग रहा. कहते साहब बच्चा खत्म हो गया. He had lost his child while this op was going on, but he did not have the courage to ask के भाई मेरे को
छुट्टी
दे दो.
Because there was a sense of higher duty, sir.
Yeah. So I'm just saying कि अगर जवान जो सिपाही है अगर वो ऐसी सोच रखता है, so what the influence will be or impact will be on a second lieutenant or an officer. So if I can remember it today, you can imagine what I must have felt at that time.
सर आपने पूरी लगभग अपनी सर्विस बिता दी सर. लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल, लाइन ऑफ एक्चुअल कंट्रोल, एंड कमांडिंग ऑफ अ ब्रिगेड. आई थिंक यू कमांडेड अ ब्रिगेड इन द नॉर्थ ईस्ट, सर.
In Manipur.
मणिपुर सर. आपने मणिपुर में कमांड करी. बट अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट सर, एवरीथिंग फ्रॉम अ कंपनी बटालियन ऑनवर्ड इज ऑलवेज बीन ईदर सियाचिन. व्हाट डिड सियाचिन सर? मैं एक सवाल पूछना चाहता हूँ, एंड इट्स I don't know how to frame this question. Normally, I'm very smart at framing questions, but today I am at a loss, sir, because what did you take from Siachen and what did you give to Siachen, sir, in emotional terms?
अब पहली चीज़ मैं एक बिफोर आई कम टू दैट मैं बताना चाहता हूँ कि ये रेलेवेंस, बहुत दुनिया बात करती है कि इज सियाचिन रेलेवेंट एट ऑल, कि वहाँ पर हम कर क्या रहे हैं. इट्स जस्ट नॉट अ ब्लेड ऑफ ग्रास ग्रोज देयर. है क्या वहाँ पर जो हम वाई आर वी मेंटेनिंग? वी शुड बी अ जोन ऑफ पीस बिकॉज वी आर सफरिंग लॉट ऑफ कैजुअलिटीज देयर. यस वी डिड सफर कैजुअलिटीज, आई टॉक अबाउट दैट सेपरेटली. बट अब जोन ऑफ पीस, कैजुअलिटीज, ये कहना तो आसान है, बट माई पॉइंट इज दैट उस जगह के अंदर में इट्स एट 18,000 फीट के ऊपर में द डिफेंडर, उसका जो अनड्यू एडवांटेज है, nobody else unless he's seen that place can or he's experienced that can tell you. If you have to ask Honorary Captain Bana Singh,
what is the relevance
what is the relevance of that particular thing? You see, the Pakistanis have been trying their level best to come and occupy these posts. Why? They are not naive. They are also soldiers. The fact is, the question is not uska relevance, uska what will it take to recapture that position if you have lost it? That is the moot question. अगर उसको आपने छोड़ दिया, how long?
That's a horrible price to pay, sir. See, horrible price to pay.
So it is not the question of material, ammunition, weapons and guns. It is lives that you will lose. अभी हम recently when I say 25 साल हो गए कारगिल में, we lost 550 and to regain that position, which
yes,
we lost somehow. But अब Siachen is even worse to be able to do. And what is the significance? General Chibbar, who launched Op Meghdut in 84,
sir.
He would say this is a wedge between Pakistan and China.
Absolutely, sir.
And it is indirectly, it influences Baltistan, Gilgit-Baltistan and the Shaksgam Valley.
It's like a finger poking like this,
yeah.
Long finger poking.
So leaving Saltoro, and the other point is, Saltoro ke upar now, today the Indian Army has got such a solid control and hold that there's no question. And this, I'm back to the casualties which people talk of.
Ji.
When we went there, we didn't have the wherewithal, we didn't have the clothing, there were a lot of casualties and all. But now, I'm telling you, I've been the adjutant general here, I know the casualty figures, etc. It has come down to, it is still there, but it's come down to a trickle as compared to what it was then. One is that there is no firing casualties, but even we used to be fighting the climate. That was the climate, the chilblains and the frostbites and all. That has come down because we have learned how to stay there, how to fight there. So, usko to forget that particular place and think anybody, and these armchair strategists, they will say it is cost benefit wise, it's wasteful expenditure. National security is not to be measured in the scale of cost benefit ratios.
Sure.
It has got more, and the trust factor. Trust, when it comes to, can we trust those Pakis? कि कल को तुम बोलो, देखो, the one point in 2008, then they were saying कि when the Siachen talks were going on, कि इनको पीछे ले जाओ and we should be equidistant, and have a heart? Do people even talk of that to take it equidistant?
Sure.
Firstly, their terrain better. He's closer to that particular. We are much lower. And even to go there, and then the guy is not willing to authenticate that place. Whatever our position, the AGP.
They betrayed our trust in Kargil also, sir. There were
course.
maps which were signed that, सर्दियों में हम दोनों नीचे आ जाएंगे, गर्मियों में वापस चढ़ जाएंगे, फोन पे DGMO आपस में बात कर रहे हैं. That was the whole deal about Kargil. And in 1999, धोखा दे दिया, sir.
And that was just after the Lahore Declaration.
Correct, sir.
Immediately after that. So if they can do that,
Yes, sir.
how can you trust? And I'm just back to that. Okay, we cannot, to recapture that is going to be so difficult. And like also you mentioned very rightly, it is not the lives here. What about the families? People don't forget. They forget that families are also, there's not only one person has died or wounded. Uski family, the guy who's got frostbite, he lost a limb. He needs a support for the rest of his life. So all these things, when you look at it, we should not get into this cost benefit analysis.
No, absolutely agree, sir. In fact, I was, sir, General Sanjay Kulkarni, sir.
I know him well.
Yes, of Fort Kumaon, sir. And I was talking to him and being from the same regiment, sir. And talking to General Sanjay Kulkarni, and then he said that initially when they went to Siachen, so he told the story once, and I have served in high altitude, but it is so difficult to wrap one's head around Siachen, that there is a place on this earth that is so far removed. It's almost like you're on the surface of the moon, sir. It is so disconnected with reality of our everyday lives. There is one place called Siachen Glacier. It's a glacier. You can't breathe. You can't walk properly. There is snow blindness. Chilblain ho jate hain, sir. Frostbite ho jati hai. And casualties in their hundreds only from the weather, sir. Forget about firing. Forget about shots. Only from the weather. And for the Indian Army to go there and plant the tricolor. So this is another level of dedication to duty, sir. That ethos की जो आपने बात करी थी, ये तो अलग ही level की चीज़ है, sir. How would one simply... Sir, I want to also ask you about your unit. Sir, initial days you were in the unit, then you commanded a company. So where did you command the company?
I commanded my company on the Pir Panjal. This is on the line of control.
Oh.
And the post is, not post, there when we say eyeball to eyeball,
Sir.
literally, without naming the post, there were literally 25 meters from each other.
So this is something that we share in common, sir. I also commanded a company on the line of control, sir.
That's great.
25 days, sir. Ponchan Rajouri, sir.
Yeah, so we were on the other side, into the Pir Panjal. And these posts were at 12,000 feet. And the higher posts were at 13,000 feet.
Yes, sir.
And snow used to be 30 feet of snow
Sir.
over those ammunition bunkers. I remember that snow was so much. And when it is snowing, you have to have sentries outside your bunkers.
Sir.
Because the snow by night, if you don't do it, it will be so high that it will collapse. And of course, now we've got concrete bunkers and things like that. Us dino mein to balli and CGI sheet, and yet on top of that.
Yes, sir.
But those were days, and literally to keep, and again, a small incident. We had a Havaldar who died at this post, which is bang there. He had a heart attack, he died. To get him out of that place, because you see, dignity of a soldier is so important to us.
Yes, sir.
So important to us. To get him out, we had to literally, about 12, 13 people are required to, because at that level, and it was snowing. And this I'm talking of in end of February, early March. Fully snow covered. To get him down was a thing. It took us about a week, because from one post to the other, and then there is avalanche warnings, the weather goes bad. And while that mortal remains are there and the people are sitting, imagine their halat. No, nobody gets into these type
things,
of...
sir.
So that is what is important to understand.
And choppers won't fly, sir.
Choppers won't fly.
Yes, sir.
And
वो कहेगा window नहीं है.
Window bhi nahi hai, and there is
Inclement weather, sir.
That's right. So I'm telling you, so staying on the LC ke upar mein, and then I have seen LC mein, I was commanding in Kupwara, the division. That is the time when I've seen the Paltans who are there, say those who are in Tangdar and all, they have to cross the Nastachun to come out even on leave. Here is a guy, and there is a nice scrapbook kind of a thing there. So when you go and you get stuck, you read whatever the others have written. There was this by Captain Saab who was to go for his wedding. And he got stuck there. For 21 days, that pass was closed. His marriage went for a 6. So later on, he got married and he brought his wife along and to show her where he was stuck. And so, conditions on line of control. One is the inclement weather. The other is the the firing and whatever else which goes on there. So,
but what keeps the soldier going, sir?
Again,
ethos ठीक है. आप जरा, because our audience, and 99.9% I'm assuming that they have not served. And unless you have served, if you say ethos to a person who has served, you don't need to explain. But I would request you to explain, sir, because...
okay, I'll put it in 3 words,
sir,
which I've, literally go with it all through my service. Izzat, Kabiliyat, Bharosa. I'll just explain this. Now, Izzat क्या है? Izzat basically you say honor.
Yes, sir.
अब ऑनर किसकी? इज्जत सबसे पहले पलटन की या रेजिमेंट की. उसकी इज्जत इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट. अब जब कलर्स, रेजिमेंटल कलर्स आर ब्रॉट ऑन परेड, everybody stands up, you have to salute it, even the VIP first salutes it. Next to the national tricolor, it's the regimental colors which is the place of pride.
Yes, sir.
तो नाम नमक निशान जो हम बोलते हैं, that निशान is so important कि उसके लिए you to not let the colors fall. In पुराने दिनों में तो we used to take the colors into battle and you must have seen movies etc. गिरने नहीं देते उसको कलर को because you have to hold it. That is so important. Then you've got काबिलियत. अब काबिलियत is so important in terms of जो training. After all, whether it is firing or it is physical fitness या gunnery वो tank की है या guns की या driving, all these skills have to be, you have to invest in the training. Because once you've invested in the training and the personal example by the leaders, you've been a young officer,
yes,
आपको देखकर, you may not realize at that time because you are busy in that josh, but it is that youngster, that सिपाही and that NCO is looking up to you कि अगर मेरा साव ऊपर आगे दौड़ रहा है तो I have to keep up with him.
Yes.
So this is the काबिलियत part. And the third which is most important is भरोसा. अब भरोसा किसके ऊपर? सबसे पहले at the lowest level is on your buddy. Buddy is like your शिव की तीसरी आंख. You have to look after his back, he has to look after your back. Because when you must have seen and fought in insurgency, so somebody has to be looking. You can't look all around 360,
yes,
तो कर नहीं सकते. So buddy, and that buddy is so important. Next is your Ahdedar. Ahdedar is like, you might have had any tajweez while the planning is being done. You might have had some dissent or ये नहीं जी इसको इस तरह कर लो. But once a decision is made,
then people fly with that.
Then you have to follow that. Ahdedar जो है उसके साथ में आपको जाना ही है. You might have heard of this एक बड़ा अच्छा incident, बड़ा पुराना है कि there was a flight lieutenant who was sitting and this guy walks up to him and says कि your plane caught on fire and you ejected. He says, how do you know? He says, because I packed your parachute. Now,
yes,
that
sir.
guy, so what I'm saying, भरोसा, अब वो जब जाता है, he doesn't check his parachute, whether it is packed properly or not.
It's blind trust. Sir.
Blind trust. जो हवाई जहाज, the Air Force, these guys, or our helicopters, aviation वाले, when they go, somebody else is doing the maintenance. They do it on trust. They go, get into the cockpit and they're off. So the fact of the matter is that bharosa is so important. And of course, bharosa upar wale pe. Our battle cries, bol bajrang bali ki jai, our battle cry, that is the ultimate. उसके ऊपर में जो जोश है उसके ऊपर में he'll die for country, but basically he'll die for the Paltan. That is
ये concept समझाना बड़ा मुश्किल है sir. People have asked me this before and I don't know how to explain it because, and I don't want to sound elitist or something like that, but it's true sir. Unless you have served, ये पलटन के लिए जान देना, ये concept समझाना बड़ा मुश्किल है. ये पलटन है क्या? What is the unit? ये होती क्या है पलटन? अब लोगों को ये समझाना कि सर अल्फा कंपनी और डेल्टा कंपनी के बीच में हॉकी मैच हो जाता है, दे ऑलमोस्ट किल देमसेल्व्स सर. ये एक दूसरे की हत्या ना कर दें तो इट्स अ बिग थिंग. इट्स लाइक एन इंडो पाक वॉर हैपनिंग इनसाइड सेम यूनिट. 17 कुमाओ अल्फा कंपनी, 17 कुमाओ डेल्टा कंपनी. You think some war is happening here, sir? So this whole thing about, you see, so this ये पलटन के लिए जान देना जो आप कह रहे हैं सर, आई वांट यू टू एक्सप्लेन दिस फर्दर. वेयर डज दिस कम फ्रॉम? पलटन के लिए जान देना फॉर आवर ऑडियंस who large number of them have not served, have not had the privilege of serving, sir. ये पलटन के लिए.
अच्छा, I'll just tell you, there is ये जो oath हम लेते हैं,
sir,
whether it is as a recruit or when we get commission,
yes sir,
we say that we will follow our superiors and जहाँ पर बोलेंगे वहाँ
even to the peril of my life, sir.
हाँ, into the peril of life, I'll go और मैं जाके उसमें वो करूँगा. बट एक उसके साथ साथ में है अनरिटन कोड. वो जिसकी बात लोगों को नहीं मालूम, बट वी ऑल नो. वो एक अनरिटन कोड है कि आई विल नॉट हैव टू लुक ओवर माई शोल्डर, माई फैमिली विल बी टेकन केयर ऑफ. अब नॉर्मल बंदे कहते यार ये क्या, तुम आगे लड़ रहा है तुम, बट जब मेरे को भरोसा है कि माई देश, माई रेजिमेंट, एवरीबडी विल टेक केयर ऑफ माई फैमिली. Then, because when you are fighting, you don't have time to think about anything else. You can't think कि इतना मेरी तनख्वाह आई कि नहीं आई है. You are only fighting and you are very sure that it will be taken care of. So that is a very very important thing. Next, और वो और भी important है, और वो ये है, we will never leave a comrade in the field. ये जब अभी आपने देखा होगा, सुना होगा, और everybody knows नायक हनुमंत थापा.
Yes sir.
जब सियाचिन में उसका he was buried under the avalanche, that little radio set का जो बीप आ रहा था, उससे पता चल रहा था कि he is there. and that ऊपर वहाँ पर तो एक एक हेलीकॉप्टर में एक जेरिकन जाता है यार. तो उसमें we have to do logistically, people doing with the jerrycans so that you can light the flames there to work overnight in the temperatures which are minus some 20 degrees, 30 degrees पे, and people dug because they said कि time is very short. अभी we are hearing a beep, we must not let it go, and they carried on, and they, after 6 or 7 days, they found it. They found Nayak Hanuman Thapa. Of course, he unfortunately couldn't survive later on. He was taken out and taken to the hospital. But अभी इस ऐसे कौन करेगा कि भाई if something happens to me. So this message goes around to the troops.
What a fight his unit put up, sir, and what a fight he put up, sir.
That's right. Another thing, एक ब्रिगेडियर रेक्स खरबंदा का उनकी बुक के अंदर या उनका एक स्टोरी है. In 62 ops, he was a BM at that time. They were walking and they saw this Jawan of Sikh regiment, one Sikh ka, the famous Joginder Singh PVC unit.
हाँ जी, sir.
So he was walking back. And he had an NCO on his back. He was lugging him along. So he told him, बेटे ये मेरे को लग रहा है कि he is not alive. He said, sir, पर ऐते मेरा उस्ताद है, इन्हों तो मैं लेके जाना है, मैं इन्हें छाड़ नहीं सकता. I cannot leave him, he says. He says कि यार, but anyway he kept walking along. थोड़ी देर के बाद उन्होंने देखा this guy was sitting, and now he had tied his turban around that NCO's body, and this guy told him कि यार ये ले तू have some biscuits and some juice and all, but I'm telling you he's died. कहता सर कोई गल नहीं, मैं पंडित जाके की शक्ल दिखाऊंगा. This cannot be explained in words,
and it has no price tag, sir.
And later on that guy had actually, he succumbed. Yeah, he couldn't have carried that thing how far, but he did it. अगर किसी में जज्बा आ गया, नाम का चू यार, we lost, two Rajput lost over 280 people. Yeah, knowing fully well that you are in a tactically unsound position, you have been told to hold it. What about Major Shaitan Singh, Charlie Company, 13 Kumao, अब रिजांगला पे, the whole company, he had to force those two chaps to go back to tell the tale. Otherwise, I mean, they are thousands, tens of thousands of guys, they were, defended that post at that time. So, ये जो जज्बा है ना, in the history which keeps on being told in the Paltans, वो info room हमारा जो होता है ना, that is a motivation hall. They call it information room and motivation hall. And that is where, in the evening when the new recruit comes, or when you go as the regimental history as a young second lieutenant, you are taught to पूरा इसको याद करो.
हाँ sir. Everything from the unit history, mess silver, everything you must be able to identify, sir.
Yeah, and if you have like I commanded 3 Rajput,
sir,
which is 1778. So now,
Wow, sir. 1778, sir.
yes, we're the oldest battalion of the Rajput regiment, older than 1 and 2 also.
Sir.
And we fought in Peking and Burma and all over West Asia.
So Mesopotamia or
And so
Southern
you
Europe.
remember those history in the silver which you've got. You have to, before any evening function, even the ladies come and, because any guest coming around, they must be told, "Ke ye kya hai, what does this mean?" So this is the regimentation which you are, this regimentation ke bagair to nothing works. People talk of camaraderie. What is camaraderie? Is this, yeah, that you can die for another chap, take a guy along, whatever it is to be done. This is the regimentation on which the whole thing is built. So, that dignity of in death is so important.
So I'll just sort of try and take this conversation further with the help of an example. मैं गया सर जोधपुर. I'd gone for a shoot. And sir, Captain Saurabh Kalia, sir, Forge Art and all
Yes,
that, sir.
yes.
So that action that happened, sir, Bajrang Top and how they went for their patrolling and that. So one of the Jawans, who was captured and tortured, sir. So I went and met his family, his son, his wife and all that. And I have now, sir, after leaving the army, I see more of the army than I saw at that time, because then at that time I was in the unit, sir.
Yeah.
तो मैं unit के साथ ही चलता था. जहाँ 17 को मैं हो गई, तो I would go as a company 2IC or a company commander or a quartermaster, whatever, sir. But today when I go, sir, I have the opportunity to go at various places. I've seen something, sir. Technology has changed, people have changed, weapons have changed. फौज नहीं बदली सर, फौज वही है, उनका कुछ पैरामीटर्स हैं फौज के. Even today, I asked the brigade commander or the person responsible, sir, in that sub area, or I forget, sir. He knew this has happened. Is तारीख को ये everything, sir. This comes from the AG's branch, or AG's branch is the overall custodian of these matters, sir. Am I right if I say that?
I mean,
Across the country.
We say, give a policy and whatever else
Yes, sir.
has to be done.
But sir, at the local formation level, sir, this knowing that ex-serviceman वहाँ पे रहता है, knowing that veteran वहाँ पे रहता है, knowing वीर नारी यहाँ पे रहती है, there is an entire ecosystem in the forge dedicated to this, sir. And that ecosystem to the outside person is invisible because he does not know what is happening. But जो फौज के हैं, they know that ecosystem is alive and kicking and well, it works like a well-oiled machinery, and they know, sir. And that lady, she was so proud. She says, every time there is a function, गाड़ी आती है, there is a soldier there to escort me. I am given due respect. I sit there, I attend the function, and there are people to greet, there are people to look after me. So that entire ecosystem, that is also what you're saying, that my family will be looked after.
Yes.
मेरे परिवार की इज्जत रहेगी मेरे जाने के बाद. यही कह रहे हैं ना सर आप?
See, because dignity in death is so important. We have something called an assured decent last rites scheme. There is an ADLR scheme which emanates from the army, the AG's branch, but done by the station headquarters, and also funds are given. So any person who dies as a veteran, there is a fixed sum of money which is given for immediate purposes for that thing, and then there are funds which they can later claim. So, but my point is the dignity in death. Earlier it was not that good, but now things have improved. Earlier, some place में makeshift एक ramp बना के उसके अंदर में coffins के अंदर, that things have improved. The standard of the coffins which we...
The entire logistics has improved,
It's
sir.
improved, totally. Abhi you have the aircraft coming and the mortal remains are carried to whatever last airfield or the NRS जो भी उसका है, वहाँ जाकर उसके family के पास में, the mortal remains are done, and the nearest unit sends some guard or whatever else to perform the, so that the funeral is a very decent and that is remembered. So that is extremely, extremely important for us to follow this particular thing.
Sir, 71 में कैसे करा था? You were in the 71 war, sir. 71 war में, let's say there is a soldier who's achieved Veer Gati, sir. He's no more, sir. So cremation used to be done or burial used to be done there and then itself?
No, it was depending on what kind of location. Like in our case, like the first one which I saw was while I was in the operations,
Sir.
Naik Bade Singh, I still remember the name.
Sir.
And because I carried him on literally on our back and evacuated these chaps. And later on, he passed away. But the casualties which were there, they were taken to the rear. There was in the brigade headquarters or somewhere little that there used to be a proper. There was a team which is rear party jo hai. They would organize the funeral and depending on the cremation, etc. And further back with the we were right on the international border at that time. So these chaps would be taken there because that time there was no time or this thing to send the bodies back. But a decent cremation was organized. Rare parties would ensure. And
but not in the village, sir.
That time there's
वो नहीं होता था ना सर.
During the war, it was
कैसे करेंगे?
Not possible.
कैसे करेंगे?
Not possible. But now it is a question that this is being done. But मुझे एक sometimes that hurt is there, that our citizens and all they've learned. There is a difference I find when whether it's on the TV or there's some place जहाँ पर requirement candle march भी हो जाती है ये वगैरह. But I say you do this when you get to know about a certain action. Pulwama hua, then now large number of people, but people keep on, being killed in action in ones and twos, etc. But why don't we honor our soldiers when they are alive? My point is that when they are dead, we are still trying. We are improving on that. We are still not reached that level which some of the foreign countries, the way they can do that. But honor him while he's alive. When he comes home,
होता नहीं है, sir.
That is what that I'm saying. That is the hurt. That is the level of expectation that we. So therefore, within what you mentioned, के पलटन के अंदर, regiment के अंदर, army के अंदर, within the army as the agent, we've got lot of, because touchwood we have the resources. Some kind of we talk to the Sarkar, and Sarkar is always helpful when you tell them about a particular issue, and they will come out and help you in various things. But now our welfare funds, our various things to look after our disabled and all is there. I can assure you that because I can assure our citizens that as far as the Indian Army, Air Force, Navy, whichever is concerned, they will never, better be it the LAC for instance, a befitting reply if provoked. We may not have the wherewithal at this point, but the will is there. Wherewithal, time lagta hai. Somebody says that at the LAC, those guys strong. To achieve parity will take time. Achieving parity will take time. Domination is a second thing. What LC which we can dominating at the LAC is going to take time.
Totally different matter altogether.
Totally different. But the will, Galwan for instance, you can be of any regiment. You can be Bihari, you can be Punjabi, you can be medium regiment, field regiment. Jo bhi jiska bhi jawan hua, he gives a total account of himself. He doesn't care at that time. He does it because LAC, that thing is important at that particular point. So we, if provoked, we will give a befitting reply. That the nation should be clear.
But sir, media bhi to nahi karta na sir. Media should also step up, and you mentioned that while the soldier is alive, that kind of acknowledgement is not there. And that acknowledgement comes only after. हम लोग तो जब मरते हैं तब खबर बनती है सर. ये कितनी अफसोस की बात है. When we die, then
see, even the narratives which are built now just take this recent disengagement at the LAC. Now there are two types of narratives which start floating. One, we've thrown them back. The other, that guy has withdrawn peacefully, or he's done a favor to us. Which one wants which narrative to be think? This is misplaced nationalism which is there. That is the scary part. They make narratives which will be totally different to suit the occasion. That is something, of course, then that is the media. I guess they do what they have to do. But there should be some forum in which at least the message should go across to our citizens. Let them know what exactly is happening in various areas and what we are doing in that particular thing.
I think to a large extent, sir, Stratcom does it, sir. Stratcom does share this thing. But finally, sir, you need a carrier for that information. What Stratcom does is Stratcom will, have a media briefing and tell the media कि ये hai. This is what it is. अब media की कभी-कभी होती है sir, because I used to be in the media, and I'm not a media expert sir, because मुझे इतनी knowledge नहीं है. But media sometimes has, I don't know what priorities. So suddenly after a Pulwama or a surgical strike, you'll have patriotism at the peak, sir, where every anchor will be screaming and shouting and as if they're going to bomb Islamabad the next day. Right, sir? And after that, it'll come down slowly. And one day it's gone. One day it's gone because, as I said, sir, it's only the death of a soldier that makes news. What he is doing is not news, sir. In tragedy, the media finds. So we have to shed blood so that people will recognize that, okay, these guys exist. So we recognize it exists. ये है sir ये सौतेला बर्ताव. This is...
That is there, but I think what I'm trying to say is that we have the wherewithal within ourselves to be able to take care of our people. That they know that they are going to be taken care of. That is
absolutely, sir.
That is most important.
Absolutely.
So
our people need to have faith in our system, that this system will deliver without fail. And sir, it has delivered, because मैं तो हर जगह जाता हूँ. And very recently I was at a certain location, sir, before this, and again I'm traveling, sir. So, and every single place, 2-3 things never change, sir. एक तो लंगर की दाल का टेस्ट सर फौज में.
True.
एक वो फौज के चाय पकौड़े, उनका टेस्ट सर पता नहीं कितने सालों से, 30 साल से तो मैं आई हैव नॉट सीन द टेस्ट चेंजिंग सर. इट इज एग्जैक्टली द सेम. एंड थर्ड थिंग, दिस ग्रेट रिस्पेक्ट फॉर दोज हु हैव फॉट.
Oh yes.
This great respect for the families of those who have laid down their lives. ये फौज में नहीं बदला सर. बाकी हथियार अलग आ गए सर, और 10 चीज़ें अलग आ गई. एंड बट दिस थिंग इज नॉट चेंज्ड. आई फील सो हैप्पी एंड आई फील सो प्राउड सर, जहाँ पे भी जाता हूँ ना, कि मतलब फौज वैसी है सर.
इसमें ऐसा चीज़ एक, if I may tell you about डिफरेंस बिटवीन ह्यूमन रिसोर्स. अब जो रिसोर्सेज की हम बात करते हैं, रिसोर्सेज तो फौज के अंदर में वेपन प्लेटफॉर्म भी रिसोर्स है.
हाँ जी.
गन्स हैं, टैंक्स हैं, राइफल है, सब कुछ है. बट एट सम स्टेज वो उसकी आफ्टर रिपेयर शिपेयर करने के बाद इट गेट्स BLR जैसे बोलते हैं, बियॉन्ड लोकल, देन बियॉन्ड इकोनॉमिक
BER हो जाता है.
फिर उसके बाद उसको हम डिस्कार्ड कर देते हैं
जी
एंड डिस्पोज ऑफ कर देते हैं. बट ह्यूमन बीइंग इज नॉट दैट. कि जो ह्यूमन बीइंग जो है वो लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म है, उसके अंदर एक ब्रेन है. ही कैन परसिवियर, ही कैन इनोवेट, ही कैन अडेप्ट. तो उसके अंदर जो पोटेंशियल है ना, दैट पोटेंशियल इज टू मच. एंड अनलेस वी इन्वेस्ट in this, and we do train them, develop that potential. Up during the service, though, we at least imbibe into him whatever he can do, and we ensure that he performs to his best potential. But the point, I'm being an AG, I can't resist but tell that veteran jo hai, if you have invested in the soldier, the sailor, airman, in the officers, that can be a great tool for nation building. He'll be do so much for nation building, because you just take an NCO of the, उसको mess havildar मान लो. People might think he is a mess havildar, some not looking at it kindly. That guy can run that mess with whatever budget he's got. Who needs what? Everybody thinks he will take care. What resource, what logistics is required? जो भी आपकी वो source कहाँ से उसने आना है, चेन मैनेजमेंट पूरी देख लेगा. एंड दैट गाय विल डू अ फैबुलस जॉब ऑफ डूइंग इट. एंड अगर डिनर है, ही लर्न विच वे द वेटर हूज टू सर्व वेयर, वट एवर. दैट गाय गोज आउट, ही रन अ रेस्टोरेंट लाइक
एंड ही इज अ यंगस्टर्स बेस्ट फ्रेंड सर. ड्यूरिंग डिनर नाइट्स, हम लोग मेरी यूनिट में सब, हमारे अब तो बहुत कम हो गए फौज में, वी यूज्ड टू हैव द रेगुलर डिनर नाइट सर. एंड मोस्ट ऑफ अस वुड गो हंग्री, बिकॉज you're watching the CO or the brigade commander or the corps commander or the div commander who's there, sir, and obviously you're wearing 6 Bravos and you're eating like this, and you know how it is, sir, dinner nights and all that. And our mess havildar was Dharam Singh, sir. तो धर्म सिंह का नाम पहले समय सिंह हुआ करता था, बट they changed his name, sir. किसी ने part 2 करके उसका खत्म करा, sir. They changed his name to Dharam Singh. Dharam Singh would have food kept for us separately. I'm just talking about the emotion of the man, sir. Food kept for us separately, that once the dinner night is over and once the VIP has left and once the CO has left, right, sir, then हमने बोला यार ये ब्रेड और कटलेट नहीं खाए जाते हमसे. So then Dharam Singh would have our food laid out separately. And this, I think, happens across units in the Indian Army, sir. Mess havaldars looked after. So yes, you're right, sir, in terms of management skills and all that, sir.
Yeah, we should, look after, because, so much you can do. These guys, they're not meant to be a guard at some place here. People just, that is the assumption.
Yes, sir.
That guy is, his commitment, his dedication, he's got so much which he can do to any organization. At the Sarkari level, there are reservations, various places jahan par usko karta hai, but a lot of things are still got to be done.
Yes,
but
sir.
at the corporate level, they are the guys who will be able to absorb these people. It will be so good. So
No, absolutely, sir. Absolutely, sir. And so with this, we come to the end of our conversation. It was so wonderful, sir. I'm glad we had a talk on this topic, because this is very close to my heart, sir. And I'm glad you came, sir. It's indeed an honor and a privilege to host you. Ladies and gentlemen, with Lieutenant General Mukesh Sabharwal, former GOC 15 Corps, former AG, that is the Adjutant General of the Indian Army. And we had such a lovely conversation. These are emotional issues. फौज क्या है? फौज एक इमोशन है. अगर फौज से आप ethos निकाल देंगे, फौज का DNA निकाल देंगे, फौज के tradition, फौज के culture निकाल देंगे, then it becomes any other organization. What makes the army special is, like we say, izzat, wafadari, dastur. Tradition is very important in the army, and that is exactly what, through various things, whether you look at the welfare of the troops and welfare of the Veer Naris, etc. This entire perspective of the Fauj, of taking everybody along and making them part of this enduring ecosystem. 250 plus year old organization. This is what makes the Indian Army great. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Gaurav.
Again, I say, sir, absolute honor to host you, sir. And Jai Hind, sir.
Jai Hind.